Aastha Arora arrived in the world amidst much fanfare. Within hours of her birth at 05:05 on the 11th of May 2000 in Delhi's Safdarjung Hospital, the newborn was presented to the world as India's 1 billionth citizen. Government ministers were photographed cradling the infant, wrapped in a soft pink blanket. Aastha's birth propelled India into an exclusive club where it joined China, the only other country with more than 1 billion people. At an event held to celebrate the milestone, the United Nations Population Fund's India representative Michael Vlasov described Aastha as a very special and very unique baby. Officials also pointed out that her birth was a wake-up call to rethink ways to control India's burgeoning population. But the celebrations over the birth made global headlines and, for days after that, journalists made a beeline for her house in Najafgarh, a congested low-middle-class colony in southwest Delhi. I too was a part of the BBC team that visited her home to see India's youngest celebrity and speak to Aastha Arora, her mother. More than 2 decades later, I revisited them to find out where the special baby was now and how she was faring. The 22-year-old who opened the door for me on a recent Sunday morning told me that she stopped feeling special a long time back and alleged that many promises politicians made at her birth weren't fulfilled. The reason she could only see me on a Sunday is because it's the only off day she has from work. She recently started working as a nurse at a private hospital. I wanted to study science and become a doctor, but my parents couldn't afford to send me to a private school, so I had to compromise and train as a nurse, she tells me. Aastha shows me a folder of newspaper clippings compiled by her parents on her life. It's from these that she learnt about the circumstances of her birth and the frenzy accompanying it. The attention continued for some time after her birth. According to one report, she was invited to inaugurate a website, jointly started by the Indian Health Ministry and the UNFPA, when she was 11 months old. A week after her first birthday, a day out with her family in the city of Ajmer was covered by a local publication which wrote about how she enjoyed tearing her 5-year-old brother's textbooks and homework assignments. Aastha says she herself first became aware of her special status when she started school. I was probably 4 or 5 years old when I first heard the word billionth baby on the UN Population Day, when a camera crew landed up at my school, she says. For a child it was a big thing to appear on TV and I loved the attention. The media attention also translated into some tangible benefit for her. Her father, who worked as a salesman in a shop, earned a little over $50 a month and was struggling to pay the school fee of his 2 children. Every year when journalists visited to do a story on me, it also meant free publicity for the school, so they waived off my fee after the 2nd standard, she says. In school, Aastha flourished. She was good in academics, took part in debates and dance shows, and was appointed the school assembly prefect. When she was 16, the school awarded her the Graceful Person Award. But despite her excellent scores, the family's financial crunch forced her to switch to a government school in 11th standard. I was very unhappy in the new school and it showed in my grades, she says, adding that it was the end of her dream to become a doctor. Even though her parents were poor, her mother says that for a while after Aastha's birth, every dream seemed achievable. The family have no documents to back their claims, but they say that Sumitra Mahajan, then Minister for Women and Child Development, had promised their daughter free education, free healthcare and free railway passage when she'd visited them in the hospital. Mrs. Arora says that on another visit to their home a few months later with the then area MP Sahib Singh Verma, they had assured them that they would help find a government job for her father. We tried reaching out of her office many times after that, but we were always told that she was away, she added. The family say the only financial help they received came from the UNFPA, which set up a fund of 200,000 rupees, $2,425, £2,118, which the family could use for Aastha's college education once she turned 18. The fund, which had grown into 700,000 rupees, helped pay for part of her nursing course. Mr. Verma died in 2007, but I called Ms. Mahahan, who retired from active politics in 2019 after serving as the Speaker of the Indian Parliament, to ask her about the family's claims. Ms. Mahahan said she didn't